Mark, and today we're going to be talking about how to plant your seeds. So the first thing that's really important is the depth to plant your seeds. Seeds come in all shapes and sizes, and the most important thing is the size of the seed. So seeds that are very large, those can be planted deeper, and seeds that are much smaller, those need to be planted much more shallow. And if you plant certain small seeds too deep, they simply aren't going to come up, they're not going to germinate properly. And if you plant them too shallow, they can actually dry out very quickly on the surface. Another important topic is the spacing between the seeds. So depending upon the kind of plant, certain plants need greater distances between the plants to grow, have enough space to grow, and other plants only need maybe an inch or even half an inch. For instance, one of these large squash plants back here, these need a tremendous amount of space, as you can see, but something like a carrot needs a lot less space to really grow in your garden. And the next thing I want y'all to understand is fertilizer at planting. This is a really important thing. So you want to add a little bit of fertilizer into your soil before you plant and around the seeds, and then after the seeds germinate, a couple of weeks later, you can do what's called side dressing and add an additional small amount of fertilizer at that point as well. Another really important thing is when you're planting is soil to seed contact. You want to make sure the seeds have been planted to the appropriate depth and then lightly packed into the soil to ensure that the seed and the soil come in close contact, and that allows for moisture to be wicked from the soil onto the seeds and allows them to germinate. Today we're going to be talking about how to plant, and this is a really important stage for your garden. And the first thing we're going to be talking about is the depth of the seed. So seeds come in all shapes and sizes, but the most important thing is the size of the seed. So the larger the seed, the deeper it can be planted, and the smaller the seed, it needs to be planted a lot more shallow. So larger seeds, usually if it's going to be something like a pumpkin seed, expect about 1.5 inches deep. But if it's something like a carrot seed, you're going to need about 1/4 inch deep. And so if it's a really shallow seed, you're going to need to keep it moist regularly, water it once in the morning and perhaps once in the afternoon. And for the larger seeds, they have a bit more reserves, and so they can handle being watered perhaps as little as once a day. So a really important thing is the depth. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like right here when planting. So these right here are cantaloupe seeds, and those are pretty large plants. We're going to plant these at a certain distance. So usually about 12 inches per plant is a good idea. But certain vegetables, certain greens, they can be planted a lot more closely together because the plants are quite a bit smaller. So I'm going to take my hoe over here, and I'm going to basically knead over the soil right over the seeds right here. And this is going to allow for good soil to seed contact. If you don't have good soil to seed contact, you're simply not going to get very good germination. That's a really important concept too. There's already fertilizer added into the soil, but for most people who don't have high quality potting soil or things of that nature, you definitely want to add about 1/2 handful for every couple of feet fertilizer. Standard 10-10-10 fertilizer is okay, but we definitely recommend getting a soil sample before you actually plant your seeds.